It's time to find out
What Shane
said with Shane Manila.
Hey, welcome to Shane Says. Today, I decided that I am going to take the bullet for you. I know a lot of people that listen to Dynasty Trades in 5, or maybe even people that don't listen to Dynasty Trades in 5, just people in general. A lot of people still play in one quarterback leagues, and I want to give you some love. You should have a mock draft too. You should not feel less than anyone else. You are important. You matter. So for that reason, I did a mock draft. It's going to be one man, that's me, one quarterback mock draft. It's going to be start 9. It's still going to be a 1.75 tight end premium, basically just because I want to be able to throw some tight ends into this draft. And it's only going to be 2 rounds. I don't have the stomach to go beyond 2 rounds. Generally in superflex drafts, if you've watched me at all, I am an advocate for ending them after 3 rounds. So I think 2 rounds in a one quarterback draft is fair enough. So let's not belabor the point. 101, I think it's obvious. No need to really discuss it. It's Marvin Harrison. My dude has a great runway to put up just banana numbers. Generational prospect, right? Blah, 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 blah. Great quarterback in Kyler Murray. Hopefully a high-flying offense. We shall see. Malik Neighbors. Again, I don't think that's controversial. He's the wide receiver 2 of this class. There's absolutely no reason not to draft him at 102 in a one quarterback league. Even if you're not excited about him landing with Daniel Jones in New York, we should assume that he will see significant volume, even if that volume isn't super efficient. So with those 2 picks out of the way, this is where the draft really starts, right? And you're going to have to start making decisions. It's 1.75 tight end premium. So with that said, I think you understand why I'm saying the draft starts here. I am going to go Rome Odunze at 103. I understand that there is some risk with this. We saw this last year with Jackson Smith and Jigba. He landed in a spot with Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, a couple wide receivers that blocked him from targets or would block him from targets. Rome Odunze is probably in a worse situation if you look at the competition in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. And we know, based off my previous videos that I've done when I told you to sell JSN, that if Rome Odunze doesn't hit at least, we'll say 9.3 fantasy points per game, there is a significant chance that he will not be good going forward. Again, I looked at that data set. I'm not going to go through that whole spiel again. I would say just check out the JSN video that I did to explain that a little further. Suffice it to say, I believe that's how you say that. We would like Rome Odunze to get out of that 9.3 points per game range. We'd like them to get above that. 9.5, 10 would really be where we want them to get. But I will say this, and I've said it repeatedly, I think he's going to quickly be Caleb Williams' number 1 receiver. I've talked about how young men bond with one another. Both these guys are young guys. I would assume, and we've already had a little narrative of that, right? They saw each other on the plane and just cut it up with each other. Caleb definitely advocated, I'm sure, for the Bears to pick him, although I'm probably just making that up, just guessing. But either way, they hooked up on the plane, good times. They're both young guys. There's a good chance that these 2 are going to connect. Excuse me. Next up, 104. Going to go ahead and lean into the format. 1.75 tight end PPR. We're going to take Brock Bowers here. There are a couple other options, at least one more option, another option that you could have gone. But I'm going to pass on that right now. Brock Bowers. I understand there's some concerns with him landing in Las Vegas and Michael Mayer there. Again, check out my video from last week when I talked about that. Luke Getsy does run heavy 12 personnel. But even with that, he does still target one tight end significantly more than the other, even when they're running 12. Here's where we have another tier break. 105. Jonathan Brooks. I'm just going to do it. Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, I'm going to roll up my sleeves here and just explain this. So there's several wide receivers you could draft here, right? And we'll get into those guys next. The thing is, There's several wide receivers that you could draft here, so that I don't want to say they're interchangeable, but they're kind of interchangeable. There's only one Jonathan Brooks that you could draft at this spot. Only one running back that's the running back one of this class, where the other wide receivers, obviously wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 are gone. There's a lot of guys that you could slide in there at wide receiver 4, 5, even 6. We'll get there later. Also, just wanted to note, as of today, it is Monday, the 6th of May. By the time you see this, I don't know what day it'll be, but Jonathan Brooks is the running back 11 in KTC already. My dude hasn't stepped on the field, and he tore up his ACL last year. Went in the 3rd round. He's already at RB 11. Just as a point of reference, he definitely has room to grow. Took a look at Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams was a running back 2 on KTC as of December 2021. In the offseason of 2022, my dude went up to running back 3, so he fell 1. So he's running back 3 in January of 2022 after his rookie season when he put up an RB22 season, and he got steamed up to RB2. All Jonathan Brooks needs to do is produce at a mid running back 2 level, and his price is going to increase, and then maybe you can flip him. All right, this is where we get controversial, right? I'm going to start taking shots on guys that I actually like. Brian Thomas Jr. I know his college profile isn't elite. It's good, but I will say he does land in an offense where he could be the wide receiver 1. An offense that lost Calvin Ridley. So I hate saying vacated targets, but vacated targets are not a thing, right? If Peter Howard's watching this, no disrespect, dude. I'm not saying vacated targets are a thing, but I am saying I like Brian Thomas Jr. here. And just real quick, I should go back. Anything after 104, I am okay with kicking to next year. If someone offers me a first, and again, I'll target specific teams, but if anyone offers me a first, a 25 first for a 105 or later, obviously later, in this class, I will go ahead and accept it depending on the team. I'm okay moving off this draft class at that point. Typically in superflex leagues, that cutoff for me is 108, 109 or so. It's 104, 105 in this one quarterback league. All right, this is where you're really not going to like my picks. I'm going upside. I'm going impact players. That's all I'm trying to do. Jaden Daniels. Yep, Jaden Daniels at 107. If you've ever watched me before, you know how I feel about getting quarterbacks that have rushing ability, and not only rushing ability, but the ability to put up crooked numbers. I think they are significant. Matter of fact, I know they have the chance to be a significant difference maker in a 1 QB league. I know it's not super flex. Again, we'll keep saying it's 1 QB league, but I'm looking for differences. I'm looking for positional advantages. I don't want, no disrespect, a Matt Stafford in a 1 quarterback league. I want someone like Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels. So I'm going to go Jaden Daniels here. Next up, a guy that I guess I'm coming around on. 108, Xavier Worthy. Great landing spot. Obviously, he's got Rashee Rice and Marquise Brown to deal with, at least for this year, in Marquise Hollywood Brown's case. But it's a great landing spot. He had a really good college profile. Really no reason to move on from let him fall any further than this. All right, another quarterback. I know, color me crazy. You're going to hate this draft. But again, I'm looking for difference makers. Caleb Williams. Now, I know he doesn't utilize his rushing ability the way I want. Not typically, like I said, I wanted Jaden Daniels, and that's why I took Jaden Daniels at 107 as opposed to Caleb Williams there. If Caleb Williams had more of a history of utilizing his rushing ability, I probably would have taken him there. But either way, I'm going to take him at 109. 109. I think that obviously he is in a great situation with Keenan Allen, Roman Dunze, and DJ Moore. He should come out absolutely firing. He's going to need to. If he doesn't utilize his rushing ability, he's going to have at least a CJ Stroud type rookie season for him to be worth this pick. But that's okay. I'm willing to do it. Next pick. I know you're going to hate this. It's okay. 110. Same logic as Jaden Daniels. He's got the rushing ability, and if it hits his ceiling, it's going to be a better option and more of a positional advantage than the other players on the board. You're going to hate this. That's okay. 111, Drake May. He's been comped to Josh Allen. He's obviously not going to be Josh Allen unless he's Josh Allen. Probably won't be Josh Allen. But again, I'm looking for difference makers. That's what I'm looking for here. I'm not going safe. I understand the thought process of going safe, but it's a start 9, 1 quarterback league. I'm looking for people that can put up crooked numbers. Drake May's got the rushing ability to do it. He's got the arm talent to do it. Oh, I sound like a scout there. Sorry. Please never quote me as saying arm talent. I think Drake May has the ability to put up crooked numbers. That's what I'm looking for. All right, 111. I am going to go Trey Benson. He's going to be my running back too. I understand James Conner is still there. He's also played James Conner. He's played 7 years in the league. In 5 of those 7 seasons, he's played 13 or fewer games. Okay, so Benson might not take his job right off the bat. Might not take it in 2024. But I think there's a significant chance that Benson gets multiple starts in 2024. At this point of the draft, I am A-okay with someone that's going to give me multiple starts in their rookie season. If he does that, his value will hopefully increase, and if I want to flip him, I can. Or, perfect scenario, James Conner moves on after this year, and then Trey Benson is the starter next year. That's a lot of ifs, if this, then that. More likely, let's just hope Trey Benson gets some starts, and then maybe you can get and try to flip him for what will be an earlier pick. Here's a player that I don't particularly like at 112. I guess I shouldn't put it that way. The community is higher on him than me at 112. Ladd McConkey. I'll just put it this way. He has more outs than every other wide receiver left on the board. And what do I mean by that? The community likes him more than every other wide receiver on the board. Quite frankly, the community probably likes him better than Trey Benson. Ladd McConkey specifically has better likability, so giving me more outs. Meaning, if he doesn't produce at a level that's elite, the community will still like him, and I should be able to flip him at mostly the same value that I got him for this year, maybe a slight discount. And that's if all things go wrong. If everything goes right and he's what the rest of the community thinks he's going to be, then you've hit a home run. Okay, round 2. Let's just get right into it. Second round of this draft. I'm going to start off with a wide receiver that had a good landing spot, which is something that I feel like I'm going to say about a lot of the wide receivers and or players in this draft, in the second round, I should say. Keon Coleman. I know he had a terrible 40 time, but his RAS score is still elite. He lands with an elite quarterback in Josh Allen. He happens to land in a spot where there is a need for a wide receiver 1. I don't know if that's what this kid can be long term, but I do believe he'll definitely get that opportunity in his first year. And also, the more that this kid goes in front of the media, the more people are going to like him, which, whether you'd like to admit it or not, matters. That does matter in Dynasty, if we like a player or not. So I think he's got all the opportunity in the world to actually increase in value from the 201. Next, folks aren't going to like this. I'm going to go with Xavier Legette. I know his profile is not great. I get that. But for the most part, you could find a reason not to draft most of the players after the first round, or even before that, to be quite honest with you, probably mid-first round. But I'm taking this exercise as in I don't have a choice. I have to make a pick, right? And if I have to do that, I'm going to go with a guy that has a chance to be someone's wide receiver 1. I know Deontay Johnson is in Carolina, and presumably he would be the wide receiver 1 for Bryce Young. But I'll say this, that doesn't preclude Xavier Legette from having the same opportunity. I know he also does have first-round draft capital. I know it was the last pick of the first round, but still, it counts. I mean, it still counts. And I do know that Carolina does have a pretty rough record of drafting wide receivers in the first couple of rounds over the last couple of years. If you just go off that, maybe you don't like this pick, but I'm going to go ahead and take Xavier Legette here. That's who I like. 203, going to go Blake Corum. It's crazy about Blake Corum. If he didn't get drafted where he got drafted, I could see drafting him a lot higher in our rookie drafts. But the fact that he landed where he did land also could mean that he could have a ton of value in the future, not just value, but also a ton of production. He's behind Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams had a 78% opportunity share last year, which was, I believe, 4th in the league. He's also super efficient, ranking 10th in fantasy points per opportunity. But Kyron Williams did have multiple injuries, missed multiple games, and also had fumbling issues. Any of these things occur, Blake Corum's going to get an opportunity to take over that backfield while Kyron's out. And we've seen what the Rams offense is, what they choose to do, I should say, when they have a talent at running back, is give them a majority, a lion's share of the opportunity, the lion's share of the work there. So if Kyron Williams were to go out, there's every opportunity for Blake Corum to get in there and never give the job back. Now, what's more likely to happen is that Blake Corum will give you spot starts here and there. And I got to be honest with you, I'm okay with that. If Blake Corum is a guy that I can get a couple starts out of every year for the next couple years, if he's a guy that I can also use in a flex position, I think I'd be okay with that. But again, what we're really hoping, and we don't hope for injury, so we'll just hope he gets an opportunity in the Rams offense. And then maybe we can, if you don't believe him, turn around and flip him for a first, right? If you don't believe in him. But if he gets an opportunity, I believe, again, he can increase in value and production, or at least produce, and then increase in value as well. 204, we're going to go with Rome Wilson. Good college profile, good landing spot. He's a super well-liked prospect. I will say we need to chill with any Deontay Johnson comparisons. Deontay Johnson had 3 straight seasons where he had 144 targets or more. That's a lot to expect from a rookie to even speak about them in that same breath. If you're not, cool. But I just think I've seen that comparison a couple times out there, so we should probably chill with that. I do like Rome Wilson. The offense that he's joining is a little scary to me. Arthur Smith-led offense. Right now they have Russ Wilson or Justin Fields if he takes his job. I'm a little concerned about what that offense is going to look like. And I believe Rome was the wide receiver 13 in this class. So even though his draft capital was decent, he was fairly low, or significantly low, or really low among his peers, his wide receiver peers. 205, that's how numbers work. Going to go with Ricky Purcell. It's hard to pass on a wide receiver that lands in a San Francisco offense, a wide receiver that was drafted in the first round. Now he does have some knocks. Specifically, he's super old, 24 years old. That's ancient. That means he's in college probably 2 years longer than most kids are. He was on that Van Wilder plan. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember that show. If you're not, please don't mention that, or that movie, I should say. If you're not, please don't mention that in the comments. You don't need to make me feel bad. But Ricky Purcell, first round draft capital, lands in a great offense. Again, the knocks are he's 24 years old. He has Ayuk and Debo above him. But I will say this, if one of them moves on, and it seems like San Francisco does want to move on from one of those wide receivers, Ricky Purcell's value could skyrocket. And again, that's a guy, maybe you can flip him for a first. And if I keep saying maybe you can flip them for a first later, I'm sorry. That goes for literally any player selected in the second round. If you can move them for a future first, you do it, you profit and move on. I think that's common knowledge, but just in case it's not, I'll repeat that. If you can flip any of these players for a future first round pick, you do that immediately. Take the profit and run. As much as I like any of these players. 206, dude, I'm just going upside here. I'm not even kidding. It's Jalen Wright. He's got a chance to be Devon Chain's co-partner, co-host, whatever you want to call him, running mate, his backfield mate in Miami. If Raheem Mostert were to move on at some point, Raheem Mostert is 32 years old. He will be 33 years old after this season, entering the 2025 season. He also has no guaranteed money left on his contract after this year. I don't think Jalen Wright is going to be a starter, or at least not a starter in the sense of getting 15 to 20 carries a week. and some targets. I do think he's someone that could get 12 to 15 touches, or maybe 8 to 10 touches, something in that range. But he's explosive, and he just like a chain, he's explosive. And I don't want to compare him strictly to a chain, because a chain is absolutely bonkers. One of my favorite running backs in the league for whatever it's worth. But he has that type of speed, which usually bodes well in a offense like Miami, where there's lots of open running lanes. So again, he's a guy, I don't know that you'd be able to flip him if he does get a start. Maybe you could flip him for a first, but he is a guy that can give you crooked numbers. And that's something I absolutely adore, especially in a format like this. There's only start 9. So if I can get a player that puts up crooked numbers, especially out of my flex position, then I'm looking really good that week. 207. I don't know that I'm even going to like this pick in about 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, but I'm going to go with it. Marshawn Lloyd. I like his landing spot. I feel like I'm going to say that all the time here. Yes, he's behind Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs did sign a contract, obviously, over the offseason with Green Bay. It is a contract, though, that they could get out of relatively painlessly in 2025. But more than that, there's a chance that maybe Marshawn Lloyd is used in the way that they meant to use A.J. Dillon originally. Originally, A.J. Dillon was supposed to be a running back that, I don't want to say had a 50-50 split with Aaron Jones, but he was someone that was supposed to take a significant portion of that work. And maybe that can be Marshawn Lloyd. 208, Jermaine Burton. Look, the dude is talented. Dude produced when he was on the field, had off-field concerns. Not to compare him to anyone else, but, off-field concerns are obviously concerning. The mentality, the thought process that goes behind that, or at least the thought process of the player. You have a career in front of you, or at least a chance, the opportunity to earn millions of dollars if you just act right for 3 to 4 years in college. And the fact that you can't do that is a little disconcerting. I know that these guys are children, basically, in college. Well, not basically, they are. They're 19, 20, 21 years old. You're young. You make mistakes. But it's still concerning. 209, I'm going to take J.J. McCarthy. Look, J.J. McCarthy is going to be a starting quarterback for, at a minimum, for the next 2 seasons. If everything goes right, J.J. McCarthy is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL for probably, I don't know, the next decade. And for at least a good portion of that time, he's going to have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson. Unless J.J. McCarthy is objectively bad at football, he's going to be able to produce and put up decent fantasy numbers. We didn't get to see everything that he could do at Michigan. He's a little more athletic than a lot of people, or at least than he got a chance to show in college. But either way, like I said, he's a guy that's going to have a starting job probably for the next decade, which is more than anyone else I can say in the rest of this draft. And probably more than I can say for a lot of people that actually were drafted above him. He obviously doesn't have the ceiling. At least I don't believe he has the ceiling of Jaden Daniels, Drake May, or Caleb Williams. I mean, if he did, I would have drafted him earlier. All right, 210. This is where we're going to get wonky. It's a tight end premium. I'm taking Ben Sinnott, literally because it's a tight end premium, 1.75. Great draft capital. This might be a little early. I did want to at least get another tight end in here in this draft, and I'm going to go ahead and take him. And honestly, at this point, you're taking shots on dart throws. Anyone you're taking at this part of the draft. So I'm going to take him. I'm going to lean into the format 1.75 tight end premium. Leaning into that format, I'm going to take him here. Next up, 211, Jalen Polk. Going to say it again, landing spot. He lands on an offense that does not have a legitimate wide receiver 1. Pop Douglas, no disrespect to you, young man, but he has an opportunity to go in there and be Drake May's target, or at least favorite target from week 1, first year of his career, and letting that grow. Will that happen? Probably not. Again, keep your expectations tempered here. I'll keep repeating myself. If any of these dudes in the second round go ahead and pop, you're probably better off moving on from them if you can flip them for a first, even if you have to add a future second to do so. Last, not least, well, maybe least, I don't know, but he's last in this draft, 212, Troy Franklin. Fell in the draft, kept falling, just kept falling. But guess what? Good landing spot. He landed in Denver with his college quarterback. That's what makes it a good landing spot, really. If he landed in Denver and that wasn't Bo Nix quarterbacking it, I honestly would not be moving him up to where I'm moving him, 212. Again, I just want some positive narrative and try to move him for a future second. That's probably another thing I should have said as well. Any of these back end of the second round players that you're taking, if you can get a future second for them, get and kick the can, do it. Chances are that pick could be better in the future. That's it. 2 rounds. Let me know what I got wrong in the comments. I'm sure I got something wrong. Might have forgotten someone. If I did, my apologies. But no, let me know what your 2-round mock would have looked like. Who was in the first round that shouldn't have been there? Who was in the second round that probably should have been in the first round? Is there anybody that I missed that you would have put in the second round? Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon. Well, I'll talk to you soon. There's only one of me. Later.